Chapter 1: The Fall from Grace. In the heart of the bustling metropolis of New York City, where the skyscrapers towered like giants and the streets hummed with the energy of millions, there existed a world of wealth and privilege that seemed to stretch endlessly into the horizon. And at the pinnacle of this world stood the illustrious Montgomery family, known far and wide for their vast fortune and their formidable influence. At the helm of the Montgomery Empire was the patriarch, Charles Montgomery, a man whose name was synonymous with success and power. With shrewd business acumen and an iron will, Charles had built an empire that spanned industries and continents, amassing a wealth that seemed to know no bounds. But for all his accomplishments, Charles harbored a secret that would one day unravel the very fabric of his legacy. Hidden away behind closed doors and guarded by layers of deceit, lay the truth of his downfall, a truth that would come to haunt him and his family for generations to come. It was in this world of extravagance and excess that Robert Montgomery, the youngest scion of the Montgomery dynasty, was born. From the moment of his birth, Robert was destined for greatness, or so it seemed. Raised in the lap of luxury, surrounded by opulence and privilege, he grew up believing that the world was his for the taking, that success was his birthright. But as Robert would soon come to learn, fate had a way of defying expectations, of turning fortunes on their head with a cruel twist of fate. For behind the facade of wealth and power lay a web of lies and deception, a truth that Charles had worked tirelessly to keep hidden from the world and from his own son. As Robert entered adulthood, he found himself increasingly disillusioned with the world of his upbringing. The glitz and glamour that had once seemed so alluring now felt hollow and empty, a facade masking the true cost of his family's wealth. And as he delved deeper into the inner workings of the Montgomery Empire, he began to uncover the dark secrets that lay buried beneath the surface. It was a gradual unraveling, a slow descent into a world of corruption and greed that threatened to consume him whole. With each revelation, Robert's faith in his family and their legacy wavered, until at last, he could no longer deny the truth staring him in the face, that the Montgomery Empire was built on a foundation of lies, and that his own father was the architect of its downfall. And so it was that Robert's world came crashing down around him, his once privileged existence shattered by the harsh realities of betrayal and deceit. Cast out from the world he had once called home, he found himself adrift in a sea of uncertainty, his future uncertain and his past irretrievable. But amidst the ruins of his former life, Robert discovered a strength he never knew he possessed, a resilience born of adversity, a determination to rise from the ashes and forge a new path forward. And as he set out into the world, driven by a burning desire for truth and justice, he vowed to uncover the secrets of his family's past and reclaim his rightful place in the world.
Chapter 2: A Struggle to Survive. In the heart of the concrete jungle that was New York City, Robert found himself thrust into a world starkly different from the one he had known his entire life. Gone were the days of lavish parties and extravagant living. Instead, he was met with the harsh realities of life on the streets, where survival was a daily battle fought tooth and nail. With nothing but the clothes on his back and a determination burning in his heart, Robert began his journey of survival. He wandered the streets aimlessly, searching for scraps of food and shelter wherever he could find them. Each day brought with it a new challenge, a new obstacle to overcome as he struggled to carve out a place for himself in this unforgiving world. At first, Robert found himself overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of his predicament. The noise and chaos of the city seemed to swallow him whole, leaving him feeling small and insignificant against the backdrop of towering skyscrapers and bustling crowds. But deep within him, A flicker of hope remained, a stubborn refusal to succumb to the despair that threatened to consume him. As days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, Robert began to adapt to the harsh realities of life on the streets. He learned to scavenge for food in dumpsters and alleyways, to navigate the maze of alleyways and backstreets that made up his new home. And though his body bore the scars of his hardships, his clothes tattered and torn, his face etched with lines of exhaustion and despair, he refused to let his circumstances define him. But for all his resilience, Robert could not escape the harsh truths of his reality. Hunger gnawed at his stomach like a relentless beast, driving him to desperation as he searched for his next meal. Nights were spent huddled in doorways and alley corners, seeking shelter from the biting cold that permeated the city streets. And all around him, he saw the faces of others like him, lost souls adrift in a sea of indifference, their hopes and dreams dashed against the unforgiving shores of reality. Yet amidst the despair and hardship, Robert found moments of unexpected kindness and generosity. Strangers offered him food and shelter, their acts of compassion a beacon of light in the darkness that surrounded him. And though he knew that his struggles were far from over, he clung to these moments of warmth and humanity, drawing strength from the knowledge that he was not alone in his plight. But even as Robert fought to survive, a part of him longed for the comfort and security of his former life. Memories of his childhood home, the sprawling mansion with its manicured lawns and gilded halls, haunted him like ghosts, a reminder of all that he had lost. And though he knew that he could never return to the world he once knew, he could not help but yearn for the sense of belonging that had been torn from him so cruelly. And so, with each passing day, Robert's struggle to survive became not just a battle for food and shelter, but a fight for his very identity. For amidst the chaos and uncertainty of his new life, he clung to the hope that one day, he would find a way to reclaim the dignity and self-respect that had been stripped from him so mercilessly. And though the road ahead was fraught with danger and uncertainty, he vowed to press on, determined to forge a new path forward, no matter the cost.
Chapter 3: A Father's Legacy. In the shadow of the towering skyscrapers of New York City, Robert found himself grappling with the weight of his father's legacy. Charles Montgomery, once a titan of industry and a beacon of success, had left behind a legacy that loomed large over his son's life, a legacy that was as complicated as it was profound. From a young age, Robert had been taught to idolize his father, to view him as a paragon of virtue and strength. Charles was more than just a father to Robert, he was a symbol of everything he aspired to be, a man of power and influence, whose mere presence commanded respect and admiration. But as Robert grew older, he began to see his father in a different light. Behind the facade of success and prosperity lay a man consumed by ambition and greed, willing to sacrifice anything and anyone in pursuit of his own desires. The Montgomery Empire, once a symbol of wealth and power, was built on a foundation of lies and deceit, a truth that Robert could no longer ignore. As he delved deeper into his father's past, Robert uncovered a web of secrets and scandals that threatened to tarnish the Montgomery name forever. From shady business dealings to illicit affairs, he discovered a side of his father he had never known, a side that filled him with a sense of betrayal and disillusionment. But amidst the darkness of his father's legacy, Robert also found moments of clarity and understanding. He came to realize that Charles, for all his faults, was still a man, a flawed and imperfect being, just like any other. And though his actions had caused irreparable harm to those around him, there was still a part of him that longed for redemption, that yearned to make amends for the sins of his past. As Robert grappled with his conflicting emotions, he found himself drawn to the remnants of his father's legacy, the crumbling empire that had once been the pride and joy of the Montgomery family. Though the Montgomery name had been tarnished by scandal and disgrace, Robert refused to let it fade into obscurity. He vowed to reclaim his family's honor, to restore the Montgomery name to its former glory, no matter the cost. But as he embarked on his quest for redemption, Robert knew that he would face countless obstacles and adversaries along the way. From rival businessmen to vengeful enemies, he knew that the road ahead would be fraught with danger and uncertainty. Yet despite the challenges that lay before him, he remained determined to honor his father's legacy, to prove that the Montgomery name was worth fighting for. And so, with a sense of purpose burning in his heart, Robert set out into the world, determined to carve out a new legacy for himself and his family. For though the sins of the past may have cast a shadow over his father's name, Robert was determined to ensure that the Montgomery legacy would endure, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of redemption.
Chapter 4: The Path of Redemption. As Robert navigated the tumultuous waters of his father's legacy, he found himself at a crossroads, a moment of reckoning that would define the course of his life for years to come. It was a juncture where he could choose to succumb to the darkness that threatened to consume him, or rise above the ashes of his past and forge a new path forward, a path of redemption and self-discovery. Haunted by the sins of his father and the ghosts of his own past, Robert knew that the road to redemption would not be an easy one. It was a journey fraught with peril and uncertainty, a journey that would test his resolve and challenge his very sense of self. But deep within him burned a flicker of hope, a belief that no matter how far he had fallen, he still had the power to rise again. With each step he took along the path of redemption, Robert found himself confronted by the ghosts of his past, memories of a life once lived, a life filled with privilege and excess. But instead of allowing these memories to drag him down, he used them as fuel to propel him forward, to remind him of the person he once was and the person he still had the potential to become. Along the way, Robert encountered countless obstacles and adversaries, each one testing his mettle and pushing him to his limits. From corrupt businessmen intent on sabotaging his efforts to vengeful enemies hell-bent on destroying his reputation, he faced challenges that would have broken lesser men. But with each setback, he grew stronger and more determined, refusing to let his past define him or dictate his future. Yet amidst the chaos and uncertainty of his journey, Robert also found moments of unexpected clarity and enlightenment. He discovered that redemption was not a destination to be reached, but a journey to be embraced, a journey of self-discovery and growth that would ultimately lead him to a place of inner peace and acceptance. As he delved deeper into his quest for redemption, Robert found himself drawn to those who shared his struggles and his aspirations. He formed bonds with fellow travelers, kindred spirits who had also been touched by the darkness of their pasts, yet refused to be defined by it. Together, they forged a community of support and encouragement, lifting each other up in times of need and celebrating each other's victories as their own. But perhaps the greatest obstacle Robert faced on his path to redemption was the battle he waged within himself. For as much as he longed to leave behind the sins of his past, he knew that true redemption could only come from within, from confronting the demons that haunted him and finding the strength to forgive himself for his own shortcomings and mistakes. And so, with each passing day, Robert continued to walk the path of redemption, guided by the light of hope and the promise of a better tomorrow. Though the road ahead was long and treacherous, he knew that as long as he remained true to himself and stayed the course, he would eventually find the peace and redemption he so desperately sought.
Chapter 5: A Twist of Fate. As Robert continued his journey along the path of redemption, he found himself confronted with a twist of fate that would forever alter the course of his life. It was a revelation that shook him to his core, a hidden truth buried beneath layers of deception and deceit, a truth that would lead him down a path he never could have imagined. It began with a chance encounter, an old journal discovered amidst the clutter of his father's abandoned estate. Pages yellowed with age and ink faded with time, it held secrets long forgotten, secrets that would unlock the mysteries of his family's past and set into motion a chain of events that would shape his destiny. As Robert pored over the pages of the journal, he uncovered a hidden truth, a truth that revealed the existence of a long-lost fortune, hidden away by his father in a desperate bid to protect it from those who sought to destroy him. It was a revelation that filled Robert with a sense of awe and wonder, as he realized the magnitude of what lay before him, a chance to reclaim his family's honor and restore the Montgomery name to its former glory. But as Robert delved deeper into the mystery of the hidden fortune, he soon discovered that he was not the only one seeking its elusive prize. Rival businessmen and vengeful enemies lurked in the shadows, intent on thwarting his efforts and claiming the fortune for themselves. And as the stakes grew higher and the danger more imminent, Robert knew that he would have to tread carefully if he was to emerge victorious. Armed with newfound determination and a burning desire for justice, Robert embarked on a quest to uncover the truth behind his father's legacy. With each clue he uncovered and each lead he pursued, the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, painting a picture of betrayal and deception that stretched back decades. But as Robert drew closer to the truth, he also found himself facing unexpected challenges and obstacles along the way. From treacherous traps laid by his enemies to unexpected twists of fate that threatened to derail his plans, he soon realized that the path to reclaiming his family's fortune would be far more perilous than he had ever imagined. Yet amidst the chaos and uncertainty, Robert also found moments of unexpected clarity and enlightenment. He discovered that true wealth was not measured in gold or silver, but in the bonds of friendship and the strength of the human spirit. And though his quest for the hidden fortune had brought him to the brink of despair, he knew that as long as he remained true to himself and stayed the course, he would ultimately emerge victorious. And so, with a sense of purpose burning in his heart and a determination to see his quest through to the end, Robert pressed on, knowing that the greatest challenges still lay ahead. For though the path to reclaiming his family's fortune may have been fraught with danger and uncertainty, he knew that with each step he took, he was one step closer to achieving his ultimate goal, a goal that would forever alter the course of his life and the destiny of the Montgomery name.
Chapter 6: The Hunt for Answers. With the revelation of the hidden fortune igniting a fire within him, Robert embarked on a relentless hunt for answers, determined to uncover the truth behind his family's downfall and reclaim what was rightfully his. The hunt for answers became a consuming obsession, driving him to delve deeper into the murky depths of his family's past. Armed with the old journal as his guide, Robert meticulously pieced together the fragments of his father's secrets, following a trail of breadcrumbs that led him from the opulent halls of his family's estate to the gritty underbelly of the city. Each clue he unearthed brought him closer to the truth, yet also deeper into a web of deception and intrigue that seemed to stretch back generations. As he delved deeper into the mystery, Robert found himself confronting long-buried secrets and painful truths about his family's past. He discovered evidence of shady business dealings, backroom alliances, and betrayals that had torn apart the fabric of his family's legacy. And with each revelation, he felt a mix of anger, betrayal, and sorrow wash over him, as he grappled with the realization that the people he had trusted most had been harboring dark secrets all along. But amidst the chaos of his investigation, Robert also found unexpected allies, unlikely allies who shared his thirst for justice and his determination to uncover the truth. Together, they pooled their resources and expertise, forming a makeshift team dedicated to unraveling the mysteries of the past and bringing those responsible to justice. Yet as the hunt for answers intensified, so too did the dangers that lurked in the shadows. Robert found himself facing threats from all sides: rival businessmen intent on sabotaging his efforts, shadowy figures lurking in the darkness, and even members of his own family who would stop at nothing to protect their secrets. But Robert refused to be deterred. With each setback and obstacle he encountered, he doubled down on his efforts, pushing himself to the brink in his quest for justice. He knew that the road ahead would be fraught with danger and uncertainty, but he was willing to risk it all for the chance to reclaim his family's honor and restore the Montgomery name to its former glory. And so, armed with nothing but his wits and determination, Robert pressed on, knowing that the answers he sought lay just beyond the horizon. For though the hunt for answers may have been long and arduous, he knew that the truth was worth fighting for, a truth that would not only set him free but also pave the way for a brighter future for generations to come.
Chapter 7: The Face of Adversity. As Robert delved deeper into his quest for truth and redemption, he found himself confronting the formidable face of adversity at every turn. The path he had chosen was fraught with danger and uncertainty, and the forces arrayed against him seemed insurmountable. Yet, in the face of overwhelming odds, Robert remained resolute, determined to see his mission through to the end. The adversaries he faced were as varied as they were formidable. From corrupt businessmen to vengeful rivals, each posed a unique threat to Robert's quest for justice. They lurked in the shadows, watching his every move and waiting for the opportune moment to strike. Yet Robert refused to back down, meeting each challenge head-on with a steely resolve born of desperation and determination. The first of Robert's adversaries were the remnants of his family's once mighty empire. Though tarnished by scandal and disgrace, they still wielded considerable influence and power, using every means at their disposal to thwart his efforts and protect their secrets. They hired private investigators to dig up dirt on Robert, planted false evidence to discredit his claims, and even resorted to threats and intimidation to silence him. But Robert was undeterred. With each obstacle he faced, he pushed himself harder, refusing to let fear or doubt cloud his judgment. He knew that the road ahead would be long and treacherous, but he also knew that he had come too far to turn back now. With the support of his allies and the burning desire for justice fueling his every step, he pressed on, undaunted by the challenges that lay before him. Yet as Robert continued to wage his war against the forces of corruption and deceit, he soon found himself facing a new adversary, one more insidious and dangerous than any he had encountered before. It was the adversary of doubt, the nagging voice in the back of his mind that whispered tales of failure and defeat. It was the fear that he would never be able to overcome the obstacles in his path, that he would never be able to reclaim his family's honor and restore the Montgomery name to its former glory. But Robert refused to give in to despair. He knew that the greatest battles were often fought within the depths of one's own soul, and he was determined to emerge victorious. With each passing day, he found renewed strength and resolve, drawing inspiration from the countless lives he had touched and the countless hearts he had touched along the way. And so, with the face of adversity staring him down, Robert continued to fight. For though the road ahead may have been long and treacherous, he knew that as long as he remained true to himself and stayed the course, he would eventually emerge victorious. And with each victory, he moved one step closer to reclaiming his family's honor and restoring the Montgomery name to its rightful place among the stars.
Chapter 8: A Moment of Triumph. After enduring countless trials and overcoming seemingly insurmountable obstacles, Robert found himself on the brink of a momentous triumph. The journey he had embarked upon, fraught with danger, uncertainty, and adversity, had brought him to this pivotal moment, where the culmination of his efforts stood poised to rewrite the course of his destiny and that of the Montgomery legacy. As he stood on the precipice of victory, Robert reflected on the arduous path he had walked to reach this point. It had been a journey marked by hardship and sacrifice, by moments of despair and doubt that threatened to extinguish the flame of hope burning within him. But through it all, he had persevered, fueled by an unwavering determination to reclaim what was rightfully his. The moment of triumph was not one that came easily or without cost. Along the way, Robert had faced adversaries both external and internal, each one testing his resolve and pushing him to his limits. He had endured betrayal and treachery, setbacks and obstacles that threatened to derail his quest for justice. But with each challenge he faced, he emerged stronger and more resolute, fueled by the unwavering belief that justice would prevail in the end. And now, as he stood on the threshold of victory, Robert could feel the weight of his triumph bearing down upon him like a heavy burden. It was a moment he had longed for, dreamed of, and fought for with every fiber of his being, a moment that would redefine not only his own destiny but that of the Montgomery name. But amidst the euphoria of his impending victory, Robert remained ever vigilant, knowing that the final battle had yet to be won. His adversaries still lurked in the shadows, their schemes and machinations poised to strike at the first sign of weakness. And so, with the resolve of a warrior preparing for battle, Robert steeled himself for the challenges that lay ahead, knowing that the true test of his mettle was yet to come. As the final pieces of the puzzle fell into place, Robert felt a surge of triumph course through his veins, a sense of vindication that washed away the doubts and fears that had plagued him for so long. For in this moment, he knew that he had proven himself worthy of the legacy he sought to reclaim, that he had overcome every obstacle and risen above every challenge to emerge victorious. And so, with a sense of pride and accomplishment swelling in his chest, Robert embraced the moment of triumph, knowing that it was not the end of his journey but merely the beginning of a new chapter in the storied history of the Montgomery name. With the weight of his victory behind him and the promise of a brighter future ahead, he set his sights on the horizon, ready to face whatever challenges awaited him with the same unwavering determination and indomitable spirit that had brought him this far.
Chapter 9: The Price of Victory. As the dust settled and the echoes of triumph faded into the ether, Robert found himself grappling with the sobering reality of victory, the price paid, the sacrifices made, and the scars borne in the pursuit of justice and redemption. For while the moment of triumph had brought with it a sense of vindication and pride, it had also exacted a toll upon his soul, a toll that would forever shape the trajectory of his life and the legacy of the Montgomery name. The price of victory was not one easily quantified or measured. It was the countless sleepless nights spent poring over dusty tomes and deciphering cryptic clues, the endless days of uncertainty and fear as he navigated the treacherous waters of deception and deceit. It was the sacrifices made along the way, the friendships strained, the bonds broken, the hearts shattered in the pursuit of a truth that threatened to tear apart everything he held dear. But perhaps the greatest price of all was the toll it took on Robert himself. For in his relentless quest for justice, he had been forced to confront the darkest corners of his own soul, to grapple with the demons that haunted him and the sins of his past that threatened to consume him whole. It was a journey of self-discovery and redemption, but one fraught with pain and anguish, a journey that would leave him forever changed. Yet amidst the wreckage of his past and the scars of his journey, Robert also found moments of unexpected grace and redemption. He discovered that true victory was not measured in gold or glory, but in the lives touched and the hearts healed along the way. It was the faces of those he had helped, the lives he had changed, that served as a beacon of light in the darkness, reminding him of the true meaning of his quest. And so, as Robert stood at the crossroads of his destiny, he knew that the price of victory had been steep, but that it had also been worth paying. For in reclaiming his family's honor and restoring the Montgomery name to its former glory, he had also reclaimed a part of himself, a part that had been lost amidst the wreckage of his past, but now shone brighter than ever before. As he looked to the future, Robert knew that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges and uncertainties, but he also knew that he was not alone. With the support of his friends and allies, and the strength of his own indomitable spirit, he was ready to face whatever trials awaited him with the same unwavering resolve and determination that had brought him this far. And so, with a sense of peace and purpose burning in his heart, Robert embraced the price of victory, knowing that it had brought him to a place of greater understanding and compassion, a place where the legacy of the Montgomery name would endure for generations to come, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of redemption.